Well, thank you very much. Again, my name is Audrey Wong with Ocean View Massage. For those who are new to the group and don't know my background too much, I've been a massage therapist for over 20 years, 23 years in fact. And I'm a certified massage therapist, which means for the state of California, they require you to have at least 500 hours of schooling. And I actually have 1,120 hours of schooling, so I've gone way past.
Overachiever.
Overachiever, yeah. But I found out a very interesting thing. The more knowledge you have, the better you can help your clients. Because I have clients and patients that I see at medical offices that have a lot of different ailments that affect different parts of the body, and I've taken extra classes to help people in those areas. I mentioned previously people with tech necks. Now, does anyone know what tech neck is? Well, I know you do. Chrissy, but who knows what tech neck is? Okay, Judy.
That's when you're leaning over all the time to look at your devices.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you mess up your neck and your
Okay,
shoulders.
so tech neck, I gave a talk at SVEC previously, and I put together this little flyer that I use in my business to tell people this is what kind of neck you have. So basically, it's a picture of a person with the ear forward of the shoulder. So let's say it was my ear would be forward of the shoulder axis. So I have tech neck because massage therapists have tech necks.
Yeah, go ahead, do this.
Yeah, because we're bent over. So we try to have a more ergonomic stance as much as possible. But sometimes when I get really engrossed in trying to solve a problem, I'll be bending over and say, oh, I've got to remind myself to straighten up. So the best way is to bring the shoulders back and the head back so the ears are lined up. So the problem with the shoulders being forward is things get pulled forward here, tightens up, and these pec muscles get tightened up right here and brings this. And what that does is it does different things. It produces what is called connective tissue stress when the weight is held forward, and it actually has an effect on your breathing. So if you're compressed like this, you're not going to be able to breathe as much. So having this back is better for your breathing, which is better for your circulation, and so on and so forth. It's all connected. And there's less compression on the rib cage. You have less compression of neurovascular flow. And what that means is that what I've learned over the past few years about how stresses on the body can create things that you don't want, like pain, tingling, nerve. Have you ever heard of people having thoracic outlet syndrome? You know what that is? Okay. It's that, so when a person has tingling in their hands, okay, and numbness, and sometimes pain, and it's really, I actually had it about 20 years ago, yeah, close to 20 years ago, where I would lean over and I would have this tingling going all the way down my hand. So sometimes you can have it by falling asleep, and you're leaning on your arm or something like that, and you have tingling when you wake up or something in your hands asleep. That's not a good thing. So what thoracic outlet syndrome is that you have a bundle of nerves and veins that come through the neck right about here, and it comes through the arm right here. Now if you have tight areas, it's going to compress that area and reduce your nerve conduction. So what massage is great for is to massage the muscles And you've heard of different types of massages, or maybe you don't even know the differentiation of, let's say, um, spa massage versus medical massage. So, does anybody know the difference between the two?
Like the water. The water that
The water that you drink. Yeah, I guess so, yeah. More frou-frou water at the spa, right? Yeah. Well, spa massage, if you haven't gone to or experienced a massage before, is a spa massage is where you can go to a spa and you get basically the most common form is Swedish Esslin, which is a nice flowy, and it produces lots of circulation in the muscle tissue, but it's more superficial, and the effects of it is more short term. So you feel more relaxed, your anxiety and stress goes down, you may get muscle relief, but normally the effects are more short term. Whereas medical massage, which is what I consider what I do, is more, it's more focused. Instead of a whole body massage, oftentimes I will be doing focus work on neck, shoulders, back, maybe a knee, maybe a hip, maybe all the above. But the types of techniques I do involve neuromuscular therapy. So the muscles have can have holding patterns where they get so tight and contracted and shortened that it you have a constant chronic feeling of tightness, and it gets worse. It'll go from tightness to stiffness to pain to then nerve pain, and it just gets progressively worse if you don't get anything about it. And then, you know, how would you like it if you can't move your neck very well and you can't drive very well? So those are the types of people I see at the chiropractic offices I see. And I recently joined an office in Santa Clara, a sports medicine doctor who's an osteopath.
What's his name?
Oh, his name is Hari. Yeah,
What is it?
Hari. He's Indian. And so I see a lot of different people, and he happens to have a physical therapist in his office that does not do orthopedic manual therapy, which is basically what I do. Is they can work with people, strengthening muscles, giving them exercises, but if they don't have somebody who will do orthopedic manual therapy, where we loosen up adhesions that are binding up the muscles and causing a lot of pain, then they send them to me. So that's what I do. So a very good example was that there was this young lady, she's like mid-30s, she's got a couple kids, and she is studying to be an industrial interior design fashion person, and she does a lot of sewing. And her right arm, she could not move it very much, a lot of pain, and she went through 1 to 2 months of physical therapy, and it did not do her any good. She still couldn't grasp a lot, and was getting worse up her neck and all. So after 3 to 4 sessions, I was able to loosen up her arm so she's able to do her work. So there's, yeah. So with my clients, they come in and they're at the last stage of stress. One class I studied, they said there are 4 stages of stress. The last stage is pain. All right, and the first 3, which I don't remember because I'm dealing with people in pain, people see me when they're in pain, it might be the stiffness, it might be that, you know, all the things leading up, and all of a sudden they have pain, then they come and do something about it. So massage is really great to relieve pain, increase range of motion, increase circulation, and reduce stress, which reduces your stress hormone called cortisol, so you'll be less stressed. So I've been taking some advanced classes lately, and one of them is called neurofascial manipulation therapy. And it's an interesting concept, and it's taught by a guy who, his name is Steve Ivanko, and he's out of Seattle. I mentioned this at the last meeting, but I'll go into a little more detail on it, is that his idea of trigger points, and trigger points are what is considered deep, really painful points in the body. And they've never really defined it scientifically, even by the author of the classic book Trigger Point Therapy by Janet Trovell. And she was the massage therapist for John F. Kennedy. So she wrote the classic book on it, and it was never really defined what it was. So this guy was saying that trigger points are tethered nerves. So his theory is that when the body goes under stress, it produces inflammation. And stress could be a physical stress, emotional stress, or whatever. Let's say it's physical stress, where you have tech neck. The neck is forward, and it produces a stress right on this point here, right here, and along here. And I see people develop right along here, and now that I'm aware of it, is I took some advanced classes on neck muscles and ligaments, and I'm finding accumulation of fascia. I call it body crap. Just to be, it's like,
Is that a scientific term?
it's my scientific. No, it could be also called metabolic waste. The body produces metabolic waste all the time, but it produces it especially in areas of stress and inflammation. So when the body goes through inflammation, what happens to the body is, here you have a nice tissue, whatever, it's nice and fluid and pliable, there's no pain, but when there's pressure, what happens to the area is it gets inflamed, and due to biochemical reactions, this area becomes, it changes the texture to be more dense and hardened. So that's where you get all the knots in your shoulders and everything. Things kind of congeal, and there's a lack of circulation in that area.
Would plantar fasciitis kind of fall into that category? It's in the foot.
It's in the foot.
But it is a fascia.
It's a fascia, yeah, and there's stresses that are on the bottom of the heel there that get stretched and all. But it's actually connected to your calf muscle that gets tight, and there's a whole process, and Christy actually has good knowledge on that too. So what happens with inflammation and its effects on nerves, there's swelling from inflammation, increases the intraneural pressure. So you've got nerves coming out of your body, and here's a picture. This is actually notes from my workshop. There's nerves coming out of the body, right, like this. And there's nerves coming throughout here to, innervate your whole body. So when inflammation occurs, what happens is that you will have intraneural pressure. So think of a nerve coming through there, and there's less space for it to move around. And it affects nerve stretch and causing depression on nerve fibers and diminished axonal transport, basically nerve transport. And then arborization limits stretch and glide. So nerves, they grow branches, so it's called arborization. So it leads to fascial bonding of the nerve, tethering. So basically you're trapping a nerve when you have all these knots in your body. And all of a sudden people are saying, oh my God, I have this sharp pain or this tingling or whatever, and it gets worse. And so when we come in, or I come in as a therapist and to work it out, what I do is I reposition the fascia around it, move it around, break it up, and to take the strain off the nerves and allow it to move and conduct nerve communication. So that's what the newest research research is going on is that those deep pain that you have is nerve tethering. Yes, ma'am.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. So the advanced neck workshop I've been taking, I've been learning how to do sort of very tiny massage. We call it cross fiber, but basically just working a particular area of the neck, and it's something that I didn't know, which is really, which I've been incorporating in my practice, is that when people have tech necks, they're out like that, and then when their neck's forward, it creates a stress right here, okay? Whenever there's stress on the bone, it grows thicker in that point of stress. And do you know what Dowager's hump is? Okay. Is when somebody's got this kind of lump right here, and it's got like a hunchback of Notre Dame almost, and their head's forward, and it's because the head's forward's creating a stress right at that point, and it grows, it calcifies, basically. Yes. And I see different people with in different stages now that I'm aware of it, and there's ways for me to, I call it fascial flossing, but I literally, I will rub that area to reduce the tightness in that area, and I've been able to help people with that. And also in the neck here, that's where I was going to use the spine. The spine, you have the vertebra, you have a point right here. I don't know if you can see it, and you all have it. Well, why don't you feel your own necks? In the middle of your neck, you'll feel these pointy spots right there, right? All right. So there are kind of ridges like that, and in between those ridges, there's actually ligaments in there. And then part of your vertebrae also, there's pointy spines coming out this way in the back, and pointy spines going out the sides. And they call it transverse process and spinous process. Spinous in the back, transverse, side, and you could actually feel it on your necks. You can go ahead and feel that. In your necks, there are little pointy spots right there, and sometimes they're kind of painful. And each process, there's actually ligaments between those processes. I found out that when you floss those and move those around, I can loosen up necks quite a bit more effectively. So, yes, Tom?
The outside of the technical stuff, how do you work with people? Like, do people, if they want to work with you, do you have to work with you? Do you have to go through a doctor's office? Do you have an office of your own? Do you go to people's homes?
All the above.
All of the
Oh,
above.
okay. Yeah, I work in 4 different medical offices, but I also have my own private practice. But I'm thinking about consolidating my private practice in one of the offices I work at, just a rental space, and looking at possibly the one in Santa Clara. But I'm centrally located in Sunvale area.
Okay.
And then I can travel, I prefer not to, but I can travel in.
So you're not gonna work out of your home anymore?
I'm probably good. I actually have a lead to work in a gym. They have a small space I can work on, and athletes are good leads for me, or weekend warriors are great leads. They try to be, athletes, and they injure themselves, or they found out, oh, I tried to do badminton, and I wake up the next morning and I can't walk. So
like somebody's doing like a weekend spa at home, and you invite friends to come by. Would you go and basically spend the day there and just work with?
yeah, I could. I do chair massages, which is a great introduction for new clients for me. If you have any chair massage gigs, like people, like sometimes I get hired to do a bachelorette party or baby shower party, or opening up a new business and they want to attract people, like
Like a house show.
House show, or grand opening for a new business. Obviously, you know, anything, yeah, anything health related to. That's a great intro for me to get new clients, is chair massage gigs. And the chair massage that I give is an extension of the orthopedic manual therapy that I use. I actually introduce more of that, so they don't get a regular chair massage. They get a sampling of what I do on the table. And they say, oh, I've never had this style before. And many people commented, oh my God, this isn't your typical spa massage. Because I actually go in there and I help fix things. Okay, so that's in general what I do. Any questions?
So you do orthopedic massage, so are you now at a level where insurance will cover what you do?
At doctor's offices, yeah. But in terms of as a private manual therapist, I haven't gone that route yet. Nobody's approached me. It's private pay. But there are insurance. In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because this was just published an email on August 7th. Massage therapy for pain can work wonders on these 5 problem areas. Dr. Oz says it's medical massage and insurance can now cover some of these things. It's now, and what's really neat is there more and more research in massage that's saying it relieves pain management, stress, anxiety, but these 5 areas includes low back pain, neck pain, arthritis, sports injury recovery, and fibromyalgia. And there are being more and more research done, and if you want to go into the research paper, the research branch of our occupation is called the Massage Therapy Foundation. And so if you want to donate money to that research foundation, it funds research on how massage can help fibromyalgia, how massage can help Lyme disease patients. And so the more research, the more chance it's going to get covered by insurance. So. Anyway, I thought I brought this along. Dr. Oz is all about medical massage.
Right. Though I guess to be able to claim insurance, you do need to be licensed somewhere for the insurance company to.
Yeah, so being a certified massage therapist helps quite a bit. So just to make a long story short, I was trained over 20 years ago. At the time, the state of California only required 100 hours, and I completed that. And then over the years, it changed. And I think in 2016 it changed. And then I went back to get more education, so I'm up to date.
So are you through school now?
Yes.
Yay.
I'm taking private classes. Next month I'll be taking a craniosacral workshop, which helps with the circulation of the cerebral spinal fluid that's up and down your spinal canal. That helps with a bunch of different conditions that I'm just beginning to discover. It helps. It actually helps people with PTSD. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm going to be learning the intro class. There's several classes, stage 1 or level 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll be taking level 1, so I'll be getting a good intro of that. I'm reading a book by Dr. John Upledger, who developed that. He was a British osteopath, definitely an osteopath. And I'm reading his book on how he discovered craniosacral. It's very interesting. I'll be also taking another class in November called Visceral Manipulation. And that's the massaging of the stomach area and all that. And why would you want to do that? Well, one of the things is my mom, who's 93, has had 2 or 3 different abdominal surgeries and developed scar tissue as a result the first surgery she had 8 years ago was to remove a bleeding ulcer. 2, 3, 4 years later, she had to have another surgery in the stomach because scar tissue had enveloped her entire abdominal area and caused what is called bowel obstruction. So she had to get bowel obstruction surgery to remove the scar tissue that resulted from her original surgery. And the original surgery was caused, the bleeding ulcer was caused by over-the-counter pain medicine. Plus she smoked and she drank coffee. That created an acidic environment that ate up her lower part of her stomach, her duodenum, which is a connection between the stomach and the small intestine. And part of her top of her small intestine was removed, and so they just, it's like a laparoscopic surgery, because they cut and then put it together. So she has scar tissue that developed from that surgery. And so by studying this, it actually, visceral manipulation can help free up adhesions that are in the stomach area. And I found out it could help with people with acid reflux, hiatal hernias, that type of thing. All kinds of, right, Christy?
Oh, yes, yeah. No, I do visceral manipulation, and I do a bunch of other stuff, cranial synchronous.
Good.
So there you
Well, how about that? So anyway, I'll be learning all that stuff, learning more of the soft, really soft, subtle tissue stuff. But right now, my specialty is sports-related massage. I call it sports or orthopedic manual therapy, where I go in there and just, I use, not only I use my hands, but I also use different tools. I brought some just to show my little cups that help. These are silicone, and you just fly it like that and let it sit there, and it brings up metabolic waste to the surface of the skin, where then the lymph system can.
Like a silicone hickey.
Yes. I call it octopus hickeys.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I also discovered something new in our one of the offices I work in. We're using this, and it is wonderful. It's called the Hypervolt. This is so cool.
Well, it's like a percussor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a thumper.
Right.
So you go like that, and it goes like that. All right.
It's like a small jackhammer.
But
Yeah.
it actually feels really good, especially on your back. It loosens everything up, and you get a nice little tingly thing. It's really neat. And I found that it really works 3 speeds.
Just
Really?
3? Do they just have 3?
3 speeds on this one. But it's not like the thumper that it has a cord and you're tethered to the electrical wall, right? You carry around, operated with a battery. And it comes with different attachments. And this is the softest one that I use. And I use this one the most because the other ones are more pointed and all that. It has different functions. But they sell this on Amazon. And I got this through 24 Hour Fitness because I work part-time for 24 Hour Fitness. I'm a spin instructor
What
for
do they
them.
go for?
About $350. Okay.
But you
But-
can have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is that I found out they advertise, do your own arm and all that. Yeah, you can do that, but you gotta know what you're doing, because sometimes you can,
Minor detail.
damage a nerve or whatever. But I use this as an extension of my hand, and I use different massage techniques with this, so I save my hand. And actually I'm able to release tighter muscles with this. It's great for the IT band right along here, and it's great for back muscles here, so it's pretty cool.
It's cool.
All right, so
Okay.
if you have any more questions, please see me afterwards. I have 1 business card left. I'm trying to get new business cards, which says my certification, but I'm also thinking about rebranding. So I'm so if you want my contact information, I'm going to pass this card. Please bring it back to me and take a picture of it. You'll be on your cell phone forever.
It's also on the website.
All right.
Yeah, the information's on the website.
Yeah, but just take a picture of it, then you can pass it on to people. I do that all the time. I have your information in my cell phone, and I say, oh, here's so and so. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you.